Hey guys, just want to do a quick review on this car that we just built for our customer. It's a 99 Lexus GS300. Got a 2JZ GE motor in it. It's built to GTE spec as far as the bottom end goes. 802-1 compression, in other words. It's got a 6266 precision built turbo on it. Full exhaust, full intercooler, yada yada. As far as the electronics go, it's an AEM Infinity 6. Just finished that up. All custom wiring harness done by Vaughn Motorsports. Electronic boost control, the works. So definitely did it in there. Got everything working except for the stock VSC, which is the vehicle stability control. As everyone pretty much knows that is used to Toyota Lexus vehicles, if you have any kind of an MIL, which is a malfunction indication light, which is a check engine light in, I guess, English terms, you will lose your traction control and your vehicle stability control if you have that, which this car does have that, so it's gone. But anyways, I'm going to be working later on in the year on trying to get that to work. In other words, get rid of the MIL. I have a lot of the stock sensors hooked up. The biggest thing I believe right now is just the O2 sensors, so I'm going to work around that eventually and get it working for them. So anyways, let's fire it up. Fires right up, idles at 1400 RPM. VSC light just came on, vehicle stability control. Air fuel ratio, 14.0, and then going up. Just idling real nicely. 17 pounds of vacuum. AC works great. I like to let these cars warm up a little bit before we move them. And this car is cold, so. One thing I did do for this customer here is I did put a nice gauge layout for him. You can't see it, but it's a carbon fiber backlay here. I got the AEM hot switch, which can control a great number of things. I'm going to be setting that for boost control. That's what I'm going to be doing with it. And then actually in the glove box here, I actually have a trans temp gauge for him, because one of the concerns of the customer was about the trans getting a little hot. But he's not going to be really hot rodding the car, so I'm not really too concerned about it. Yesterday the car put down just over 400 horsepower on the dyno. It's capable of a lot more than that, but I don't really see the need to push it past that. So, gated shifter here. Brakes are wet. I just washed it. A lot of people have asked me how I got the electronic throttle to work, because a lot of people noticed that the ETCSI throttle body was hooked up. I did have it set with the Infinity. The reason is I was going to try to utilize the Infinity's traction control. I didn't really so much as have an issue with the wiring and the setup of the throttle body. It was more along the lines of the Infinity is not really acceptant of the Toyota throttle position sensor and the accelerator pedal position sensor, which actually on this car is on the throttle body. They don't correlate exactly very well, and the Infinity does not like that. So I just decided, because it would be very hard for the customer to handle that, I just decided to hook up the stock system. How I did that is I've left most of the sensors intact as far as the stock ECU goes. Just, you know, did that, and it made it really easy. The car really takes off well. Without the VSC and stuff and the traction control, it might be a little bit difficult. The customer hasn't driven the car yet. I'm going to see how he handles it. Eventually I will have a fix for the VSC, so I will be able to get that working eventually. But for now, you know, it takes off. You add very little throttle to it, and it just takes off. That's like 6% throttle right there, which would equal to about 12 because it idles about 6%. Driving on an A1A, so I don't think we're really going to be able to have a lot of fun, but do a little bit here. All right, going 20 miles an hour. Get it going here. Get it downshift. Let's go spin the tires. So, 90 miles an hour. The car does move. It really does. It's a lot of fun to drive. It's definitely an M3 killer. But yeah, it definitely has its limitations. You don't want to go too crazy with it. I mean, right now we have little 215s on the back as far as the tire size goes. So, and they're like a 480 tread wear. So they just turn to dust. There's no grip there. It's just going to spin tires. I mean, that's why, I mean, I backed off the throttle there. Once I got it going to downshift, I just backed off the throttle to about 50-40%. So, just, you know, that's my traction control. I mean, literally, I'm not used to traction control. I don't use it. I don't like it. So, I'm a very purist driver. I mean, I drive a Toyota MR2 every day. So, as far as cruising with the car, yesterday I drove it on the highway. I drove it on I-4 down here in Florida. Drove it on 95. Drove it on A1A. Drove it on Ridgewood Avenue in Daytona Beach. On East Colonial in Orlando. All sorts of different traffic situations and everything. It's a Lexus. It drives like a Lexus, and I can't say enough about that. It sounds good. It does have Dynamax VTs, which have a little flapper valve in them, which on a lot of cammed cars, that causes an issue because those flapper valves flap and it makes some noise. But on this car, because the cam is really tame, it does not, and not to mention also the turbo evens out the air. It does not do that. It does really well with this car. So that's a nice thing. But anyways, no, the mufflers, it has a MagnaFlow, high-flow cat on it. The mufflers, everything just does really well with this car. I mean, I had it up to about, 2,800 RPM going down I-4, and just sounded like a little faint 2J. That's all it sounded like inside the cab. And outside, I mean, it was quiet. I mean, I opened the windows a couple times. You can just barely hear that it was a 2J. Driving in the city, no hiccups with the transmission, no hiccups with the throttle, no problems with the car. It just drives well. And quite honestly, from looking at it on the outside, you would not think it's a turboed Lexus. You would not think it has 400 horsepower. It looks like Grandma and Grandpa are going to pop out. So it's kind of a little fun. I pulled up to a gas station last night, and the guy did not expect me to pop out of the car. I mean, and it's definitely a Lexus Grand Sedan, which that's what GS stands for. Going about 50 miles an hour right now. Hardly a peep from it. Off throttle, 50 miles an hour, just coasting, very, very slow reduction speed there. I really can't compliment this transmission enough, actually. It literally, right now we have just about the same transmission in our SC400, since it's a 4-speed, which is kind of the transmission that you build. But this car has a different transmission than pretty much every other car of that era. It's a 5-speed, and it literally, I don't want to say it comes out of gear when you get off throttle, but the speed reduction when you get off throttle is very little, unless you start hitting the brakes. And it's great for fuel economy, actually. I mean, you get off, I can kind of ease off the throttle, get it down to about 17 pounds of vacuum on the highway, and just save so much fuel that way, because that transmission does not drag on it. So, I mean, and then when you put it in cruise control, it's like 12 pounds of vacuum. So, you know, in this car, really, cruise control is not your ideal option if you know if you know what you're doing and you have a good indication of what you're doing. So, one thing about the car, I will say about this, it does drink quite a bit of gas. You know, through my testing yesterday, I was doing, you know, a lot of dyno pulls, and I was doing a lot of different driving, and some of the times I was putting it into boost, and it does drink fuel at that point. You do, because I did put a return system on this car, which this car normally does not have a return system, you do need to be careful of how much fuel is in the tank. And what I mean by that is when it says a quarter tank, you fill the thing up. So the other reason is the pumps, the high performance pumps, your Walbros, your AEM pumps, I believe even the super pump is shorter, like in length, than the Lexus pump that's in this car stock. So, and I was comparing the size like 3 days ago, and I think what the problem is the fuel pump actually sits higher, and the pickup is raised. So, yeah, you definitely need to be careful of that. So yeah, anyways, if you guys are looking for a vehicle that's very spacious, great back seat room, great features, great power, great reliability. I mean, the 2J, you can't say enough about the 2J for reliability. Look no farther than one of these with building it, because you can pick these up relatively cheap. And what I mean by that is, I mean, for one with this mileage, I mean, you could pick up for easily $5-6 grand. I'm not going to say that the condition of the interior is going to be that nice, but that stuff can be fixed. That's all stuff that can be fixed. What you're looking for when you're buying a car, I mean, you're looking for a solid chassis, and this car has it. I've seen dozens with them, but they have a 2J in them, and of course the 400 has a 1UZ, which is a great V8 motor. But anyways, the 2J, I mean, they're just, the aftermarket support's amazing. And they're somewhat easy to build. They're not that hard. The only thing about this car is the wiring. I highly suggest that, you know, you have somebody professional doing the wiring if you do take on something like this yourself. But anyways, yeah, if you guys want one, just follow the link, go to our website, give us a email, and we can let you know. All right, over and out.